YouTube, it's Satch. Welcome to my VW Golf GTI. It's a 2006 Mark V with 250 brake horsepower. It has a stage 1 APR and it's quick as f***. My name's Satch, welcome to Driver 81, and in this video it's possibly going to be one of the last videos I do on this car because I have agreed to sell the car and it's getting picked up tomorrow morning, in fact. So I thought I'd make one last video, one final video, one bow out, and it's going to be about modifications on the Mark V VW Golf GTI. It doesn't really need to stay with the Mark V though, because if you've got a Mark 6 or Mark 7, then I guess the modifications will also be the same. It's just the parts may well be a little bit different. So bear that in mind as I go through the video. And just sort of thinking off the top of my head, I've got six modifications really that I think ought to be looked at or certainly considered if you actually have one of these cars or you're thinking about buying one of these cars. And I'd recommend that you do. Now, one of the modifications which is installed into this particular vehicle is what they call a forge blow-off valve, and that makes the car sound absolutely fantastic. It's not too aggressive and too in your face, and you'll pick one of these up. I think they're about £220 direct from Forge Motorsport, so it's worth having a look on their website. I think they do often have discount codes where you can apply and get a bit of discount on these parts, but that is certainly a modification on this car which has been done and it sounds beautiful. Okay, next up is something that will really enhance the drive and the feel of the car and make you really feel like you're in a motorsport car or a racing car, and it is of course the short shifter. You can pick these up. The eBay kits generally cost about £50. You can also go for the S3 shifter that will also fit in here, snug as a bug in a rug, and it makes such a massive impact on the feel of the drive and the interaction that you actually have with the car. Now, it's all very well me saying this and preaching about this. I don't have it installed in my car. However, I do have short shift kits installed in a couple of my other cars, namely the Porsche Boxster and the Porsche 911 997. So I know how they feel, I know what it means to fit one and use one and drive with one, and they are just beautiful. So, buy one. Okay, next up, this is going to cost you about £200, and this is something that should have been done from the factory. These cars should never ever have left the factory floor without having the side strips color coded. Why oh why did Volkswagen do that? These cars look absolutely fantastic with the color coding side strips. This car's had it, as you can see here, and it makes such a big impact on the car, and it makes it look just a little bit more glamorous and a little bit special, if you like, and not the regular run-of-the-mill car. You know, they were producing uncolour-coded bumpers in the 90s, in the 80s, and I don't understand why they've done that on mid-noughties cars. Absolutely bonkers, but that is one thing that you need to do, and I'm sure you already know that. Next up, this is all down to personal preference, but it does allow you to have a little bit more functionality of your car with regards to your devices, like your sat navs, your phones. This car has 2 USB ports installed into the front here, along with a digital turbo gauge. It also has connectivity for an iPhone, so you can play your music through this, and it just brings the car a little bit more up to date. Obviously 2006 was a time when USBs were certainly around, but they weren't as common as they are now. most cars will come with a USB port as standard. It's not even optional equipment. They're that widely used. So to have two USB ports in this car is a really nice little addition, along with the digital turbo gauge as well. Not that you can ever look at it because it's kind of out of your eyes view. A turbo gauge, understandably, you want to have something which is just a short glance, like off to the side on the pillar here. That's obviously a common place to put them, but it's a modification that can be done. Very easy, very cheap to do, and it's effective. All right, next up is what they call the VAGCOM mod. And it's not just a modification, in fact, it's a whole series of modifications. In fact, I've got a list I'm going to have to pull over and read them out to you, because obviously I can't read and drive at the same time. Okay, so the VAGCOM generally costs about, I think it's about £300, 250 to £300. However, there are fake Chinese cloned versions on the market, and you can pay 30 to 50 quid for one of those. I'm not saying do it, I'm not saying that at all, but I bet you bottom dollar that probably the vast majority of people who have these in the country are using the clone models. But it's entirely your decision as to whether you want to go down that route or get a genuine one. But a list of some of the modifications, so you can disable and enable a whole ton of lightings around the car. You can have the windows go up and down when you lock your car as appropriate. You can disable or enable the daytime running lights. Enable boot lock, door locks with one click. You can change languages, do the parking brakes. You can adjust the horns, the radios, the fuel tank, a brake pad indicator, disable teardrop wiper, seatbelt chimes, washer fluid warning lights, and chimes, brighter parking lights, coming home feature, and mirrors down for reverse. Those are just a few of the modifications that you can do. Obviously, the kit will also allow you to do diagnosis on things like engines, ABS, airbags, transmission. However, I would recommend going for the iCarsoft i908 kit for that, but that's just personal preference. It has nothing to do with the fact that my business stocks them. Okay, moving on. So the last and final modification I'm going to talk about is something which is probably well known, and it's quite expensive actually. You probably pay about 450 to 550 pounds for this. There are a few different companies that specialize in it. This particular car has what they call an APR stage 1, and obviously the standard output, the brake horsepower output for one of these cars is about 200 brake horsepower. This car was dynoed and tuned to around about, well, I think it was about 245. However, if you run it in a certain setting, which takes certain, like the V power fuels and the more expensive fuels, then you probably expect to see gains of about 250 brake horsepower. So it all depends on how much you think is worth it, and if you would get enough out of that. If you're an absolute speed demon and you want to go fast, you want to take the car on the track and just basically thrash the tits off your car, then it's great fun. The GTI's Mark 5's standard brake horsepower 200, they are fantastic, but with the APR, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. A good feature of the APR is that you can it's switchable. So what you can do is, if you think it's too quick, or you want to maybe restrict it because you're taking it on a track day and you think it might be too powerful, then you can always put it back into the original map, so it puts it to the original settings. And then once you finish your track day, once you're back on the roads, or vice versa, you can just switch it back into the appropriate mode that you feel most comfortable with. Like I say, 450, that's excluding the VAT, so you might pay about £550 in total for a stage 1 APR. I think it is very worth it, and if you intend on keeping your car, and you are really proud of your car and you appreciate your car and you want to maintain your car and keep it in excellent condition, it's a show car, I would certainly recommend it. It's a beautiful feature to add, pricey but beautiful, and that's it. No doubt there are 100 other modifications you can do on these cars because they are so tunable, and the modifications, they're all out there. So if you've got a different modification that you feel that should have been on this list, then by all means, please put it on the list. Comment in the box below. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot of other VW Golf GTI videos on there as well, so you probably won't see that many in future because of course I'm going to sell the car. However, my old videos may well pop up from time to time and they might be useful for you. So with that in mind, this is probably the last drive of the car I'll ever do. And what am I doing? Well, I'm circling a car park. Oh, rock and roll. All right, see you next time. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment.